I absolutely loved getting to teach this lesson. I wrote my lesson plan on the Declaration of Independence after collaborating with my cooperating teacher. We discussed, this was the lesson plan that I had actually written in EDUC 332, and we had discussed the lesson plan that I would do in her classroom, and so it was just a perfect fit for what she was already teaching the students. She had taught about the different taxes that were imposed and the different events that took place the week before I had taught on the Declaration of Independence, so it all just kind of flowed in together, and so it worked. But I loved teaching this lesson because I love the Declaration of Independence. I love that part of history because it was a starting point for the United States of America being what it is. And it was a time when the American people came together and fought for one cause. They came together in unity. It was legitimately a time in our history where we were the United States of America because they came together and they fought for one cause, and that was for us to gain our independence and get the freedoms that we had. So it is a very complex document. It is something I think that a lot of people just kind of skim through, and we don't take the time to read and realize why these people were fighting so hard for us to have the freedoms that we have, and for us to gain the independence that we have. Why we celebrate July 4th, why it's such an amazing event. It's not just a time to go out and grill hot dogs and spend that time with your family, but it's a very important event in our history. That's when we gained our independence away from British rule. And this document, the Declaration of Independence, just kind of breaks it down. This is why we want to break away from your rule. This is why we're doing this. We do not appreciate that you are putting all these taxes on us. And so it just breaks it down. And I loved being able to teach the students that. I gave them a reading assignment that kind of chunked the Declaration down and gave them 3 questions for each piece of Declaration that was written, but I also gave them a simplified version of the Declaration to kind of simplify the grievances to help them understand better what they were. I feel that teaching this lesson and creating the lesson plan helped me to get ready for student teaching and to actually teach in my own classroom, because we can write about it all day. We can talk about it and talk about what we're going to do in our future classroom and how we're going to teach and how we're going to handle these situations when they come up. But until you get the actual experience of teaching the lesson or the experience of actually being in the classroom, that's where you really find your love for teaching, your love for these students, and your desire to help them grow, not just in their education, but to be the amazing men and women that we know that they can be. So the experience can either teach you that this is really something that you want to get into, or it can teach you that maybe I should go down a different path. And this experience for me taught me that I truly do want to be a middle school teacher, and so I'm going to continue to pursue it. Personal struggles that I had with writing this lesson plan were in the assessments. The formative assessments and the self-assessment and peer assessments were a little difficult. I wanted to be able to give them something that I would be able to know their growth from pre-assessment to the final formative without it being too strenuous. You don't want to give them a 50-question quiz on top of these other activities that you want to do, and then another formative, and it just be too much. You want to get something simplified for them to be able to keep their attention, but also that you can get information to know how well you taught the lesson and what you need to expound more on. So in order to do better on the formatives and the summatives and the pre-assessments and all the different assessments that we can do within the lesson plan, I'm going to talk to more educators and see what they would suggest, see what they have done to kind of test their students' knowledge without it being too long or strenuous for the students. And a couple of the strengths that I would say that I had was in the hook. I loved putting together something fun and creative to get them started into the lesson, but also being able to break it down in a way that they would understand. I absolutely loved getting to teach this lesson, and I cannot wait until I become a teacher.